It's hard to pinpoint the exact moment when things started to change. But now, looking back, I can see the cracks forming, little by little, almost too subtle to notice at first. The way Claire stopped looking me in the eye when she talked, or how her smile didn't seem as warm anymore, like there was a part of her that was holding back. I told myself it was nothing, a rough patch. Every marriage has them, right? We've been together for 8 years. And it's not like I expected everything to feel the same as when we first met. But lately, it feels like she's distant, like there's something else on her mind, something she's not telling me. This morning was like that. Claire was up before me, already dressed for work by the time I came downstairs. It's not unusual for her to leave early. She's always been busy with meetings, conferences, whatever else her job throws at her. But the way she rushed out the door today felt different. She barely touched the breakfast I made for her, didn't even finish her coffee, just grabbed her bag, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "I'll be late tonight. Don't wait up." That was it. No real goodbye. No I love you. Nothing. She was out the door before I could even ask what time she'd be home. I stood there in the kitchen for a while after she left, staring down at the 2 plates on the table. One untouched, one barely touched. A strange kind of emptiness settled over me, like I'd just woken up from a bad dream and couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. It's been like this for weeks now. Claire's been more private. We've always been open with each other. She used to leave her phone lying around without a second thought. But now it's always with her, tucked away in her bag or her pocket, always face down on the table. She's been locking it too. Something she never used to do. I've asked her about it a few times. Joked, really, but she brushes it off with a smile, saying it's just work stuff. And I've let it go, because why wouldn't I trust her? She's my wife. But lately, the little things have been adding up. The late nights, the vague explanations about where she's been, the way she seems distracted when we're together, like her mind is somewhere else, with someone else. I don't want to be the kind of husband who checks his wife's phone. That's not who we are. Or at least, that's not who I thought we were. But lately, I've been wondering if maybe I've missed something. If maybe there's more going on than Claire's telling me. Later that afternoon, I'm sitting at my desk, trying to get some work done. But my mind keeps drifting back to this morning, to the way Claire left the house so quickly, like she couldn't wait to get away from me. It's a ridiculous thought. We've had busy weeks before, and work has always taken its toll. I know what stress looks like. Hell, I've lived it too. But still, something gnaws at me, and I can't let it go. I reach for my phone and pull up Claire's messages. We text throughout the day, little check-ins, usually nothing more than updates on work or what's for dinner. I scroll through our recent conversations, looking for something, anything, that might explain why she's been acting so distant. But it's just the same as always. Then I notice it. She hasn't texted me all day. Not since she left this morning. I sent her a quick message. Hey, how's your day going? Hope the meeting went well. Let me know what time you'll be home tonight. I stare at the screen for a moment, waiting for the little typing bubble to pop up. But nothing. The minutes tick by, and my phone stays silent. It's not like Claire to ignore me. She's usually quick to respond, even if it's just a short reply. But today, there's nothing. I try to focus on my work, but it's useless. My mind is elsewhere. I'm wondering where she is, what she's doing, who she's with. The thought hits me out of nowhere and I shake my head, trying to push it away. Don't be ridiculous. I tell myself. Claire wouldn't lie to me. She wouldn't cheat. She wouldn't. Would she? That night, Claire doesn't come home until nearly 10 p.m. I hear the front door creak open, followed by the sound of her heels clicking across the floor. I'm sitting on the couch, pretending to watch TV, but my eyes have been glued to the door for the past hour, waiting for her. She steps into the living room, still dressed in her work clothes, her hair pulled back into a tight bun. She looks exhausted, like she's been running on fumes all day. "Hey," she says, her voice soft. "Sorry I'm so late. It's been one of those days." I nod, but I can't shake the feeling of unease that's settled in my chest. Everything okay? Yeah. Just busy, she says with a tired smile. Meetings ran long, and I had to stay and finish up some paperwork. Her phone buzzes in her bag, and I see her tense for a split second before she pulls it out. Glancing at the screen, she taps out a quick reply, then slips the phone back into her pocket. Her smile back in place like nothing happened. Who was that? Ask, trying to keep my voice casual. Like I'm not thinking about the way she's been acting, the way she's been pulling away. Just a work thing, she says, brushing it off. Nothing important, but something about the way she said it feels off. There's a tightness in her voice, a quickness to change the subject that makes my stomach turn. I don't press her on it. Not yet. I want to believe her. I want to trust that she's telling me the truth. But the whispers of deception are getting louder, and I can't ignore them for much longer. Days have passed since that late night when Claire came home without a proper explanation. I've been telling myself that I need to stop obsessing over every little thing. Stop looking for problems where there might not be any. But the knot in my stomach won't loosen. It's like every time I try to convince myself that things are fine, something happens that makes me question everything all over again. This morning, I woke up to find the bed empty. Claire used to stay in bed with me until the last possible minute, hitting snooze on the alarm, snuggling closer, taking her time before starting the day. But now she's always up before me, like she can't stand being in the same room anymore. I get out of bed, rubbing the sleep from my eyes, and head downstairs. I find her sitting at the kitchen table, her phone in hand, her eyes glued to the screen. She doesn't notice me at first, and I watch her for a moment, watch the way her fingers fly across the keyboard, her face blank, like she's lost in her own little world. Morning, I say, trying to keep my voice light, as if I haven't been losing sleep over the distance between us. Claire jumps slightly, glancing up at me, and for a second, I see something flicker across her face. Guilt? Maybe? It's gone before I can be sure, replaced by her usual smile, but it lingers in the back of my mind. Morning, she replies, slipping her phone into her bag. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. I mutter, grabbing a mug and pouring myself some coffee. I try not to sound suspicious. Try to act like I don't care that she was buried in her phone first thing in the morning. But I do care. I can't help it. She stands up, brushing past me on her way to the sink. I've got a meeting this morning, she says, her voice casual. I'll be home late tonight again. Again. I nod, keeping my eyes on my coffee. But the tension between us feels like it's thick enough to choke on. She doesn't offer any more details, just says it like it's a fact, like there's nothing unusual about it. But there is. She's been coming home late almost every night this week. And the excuses are starting to sound hollow. I take a sip of my coffee, glancing at her out of the corner of my eye. Another meeting? Yeah, she says, her back still to me. You know how it is. But I don't. I don't know how it is anymore. As Claire heads out the door, I sit back down at the kitchen table, staring at the empty space where she was just sitting. I've been trying to ignore the whispers in my head, trying to push down the doubts that keep rising to the surface. But it's getting harder. She's hiding something. I know she is. I stare at my phone, my thumb hovering over her contact name, wondering if I should text her. But what would I say? What could I say? I can't accuse her of anything. I don't have proof. Just a gut feeling that's been getting stronger every day. The silence in the house feels heavy, and I realize that I haven't felt truly connected to Claire in a long time. We're going through the motions, saying the right things, playing our roles, but it feels like we're miles apart, and I don't know how to bridge that gap. The rest of the day drags on. I try to focus on work, try to keep my mind from drifting back to Claire. But every time I glance at my phone, the doubts creep back in. She hasn't texted me all day. Again. By late afternoon, I can't take it anymore. The whispers of doubt have grown louder, and I need to know what's going on. I need to find out what she's been hiding. When I get home, I sit on the couch, waiting, My fingers twitch and I stare at her bag sitting by the door. Her phone is in there. I know it. It's just sitting there, waiting for me to pick it up. I've never gone through her phone before. Feels wrong. Invasive. Like I'm crossing a line. But if she's hiding something, if she's lying to me, I have to know. I take a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest, and walk over to her bag. My hands are shaking as I unzip it, my fingers brushing against the cool surface of her phone. I hesitate for a second, guilt twisting in my gut. But then I grab it. The screen lights up and my stomach drops when I see it's locked. Of course it is. It never used to be. But lately, she's been locking it more and more. I know her passcode. I've seen her type it in 100 times. I tell myself that it's just a peek, just enough to put my mind at ease. But I know that's not true. I'm looking for something I hope I won't find. I unlock the phone, my hands trembling as I swipe through the screens, looking for exactly. I'm not sure. The messages. That's where I start. I scroll through her conversations, seeing the usual names, co-workers, friends, family. There's nothing suspicious at first. No one jumps out at me, but then I see it. A name I haven't thought much of before, but now it feels like a punch to the gut. Lisa, Claire's friend. They've known each other for a few years, met through work. I think, I've never thought twice about her before, but now, seeing her name here, seeing the frequency of their texts, something feels off. I open the thread, scrolling through their conversation. At first, it's nothing, just casual, friendly banter. But as I keep scrolling, the tone shifts. The messages become more personal, more intimate. Lisa, I can't stop thinking about you. Claire, me too. I hate that we have to hide this. Lisa, I know, but we'll figure it out. My heart stops. The words blur in front of my eyes. And for a second, I can't breathe. What the hell is this? I scroll further, my pulse racing, my stomach twisting into knots. There are more messages, more confessions of feelings, more hints at meetings I didn't know about. And then, there's one that makes everything come crashing down. Claire, I'll see you tonight. Same place. I drop the phone, my hands shaking, my breath coming in short, sharp gasps. I feel like I've been punched in the gut, like the floor has been ripped out from under me. Lisa. Claire's been seeing Lisa, and it's not just friendship. It's more, so much more. The whispers of deception are no longer whispers. They're a full-blown scream, and I can't ignore them anymore. I sit in the living room, staring at the phone in my hand, my heart pounding in my chest. The messages from Lisa and Claire keep replaying in my mind, over and over again, like some kind of sick loop I can't turn off. The words blur together, but I can still feel them, burning into my brain. I can't stop thinking about you. Me too. I hate that we have to hide this. How did I not see it? How did I miss something this big? I've known Lisa for years. She's been to our house, sat at our dinner table, laughed with us like everything was fine. And now I know that every time she smiled at me, she was lying. She was hiding this thing between her and Claire, right in front of my face. I try to focus, try to figure out what I'm supposed to do now. My first instinct is to confront Claire, to demand answers. But I know I can't do that. Not yet. I need more than just a few messages on her phone. I need proof. I need to see it for myself. That's when I remember the message. I'll see you tonight. Same place. My blood runs cold. She's meeting Lisa tonight. I can feel it in my gut. I put the phone down, my hands shaking, and walk over to the window. Outside, the sun is setting, casting long shadows across the front yard. Claire is upstairs, getting ready for her meeting. I can hear the sound of her heels clicking on the hardwood floor, the faint rustle of her clothes as she moves around. My chest tightens, the anger building inside me, but I force myself to stay calm. I need to know. I need to see it. The minutes crawl by, each one heavier than the last. I sit on the couch, pretending to watch TV, but my mind is racing. Finally, I hear Claire coming down the stairs. I glance over and see her standing by the door, her hair done up, her makeup perfect, like she's going out for a special occasion, not some work meeting. "I'll be home late," she says, her voice casual, like nothing is out of the ordinary. I nod, forcing a smile. "Okay, have a good time." She hesitates for a second, her eyes flicking over to me, and for a moment, I think she knows. I think she can sense that something's different, that I'm not buying her lies anymore. But then she gives me a quick smile and heads out the door, closing it softly behind her. I wait until I hear her car pull out of the driveway before I move. My heart is pounding, my hands shaking as I grab my keys and head for the door. I tell myself this is crazy, that I'm overreacting. But I know deep down that I'm not. The messages were real. The distance between us is real. And I need to see what's happening for myself. I get into my car and follow her, keeping a safe distance. She drives through town, past the office buildings, past the restaurants where we used to go on dates. I watch her, my mind spinning, wondering what I'll find when she gets to wherever she's going. But then she turns into a neighborhood I know all too well. Lisa's neighborhood. My stomach clenches as I follow her down the quiet, tree-lined street. The houses here are nice, big, suburban, perfect lawns and white picket fences. The kind of place where everything looks picture perfect on the outside. Just like my marriage. Just like Claire. I pull over a block away, parking where I can see without being seen. Claire pulls into Lisa's driveway, and for a second, I pray that I'm wrong, that this is all some huge misunderstanding, that they're just friends meeting up for dinner. But then I see them. Claire steps out of the car, and as she walks up to the front door, Lisa appears, standing in the doorway, waiting for her. They smile at each other, and then Lisa reaches out, pulling Claire into a hug. It's not just a friendly hug, it's something more. And then they kiss. I feel like the air has been sucked out of my lungs. My hands grip the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turn white, my heart slamming in my chest. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Claire and Lisa together. The realization hits me like a freight train. This isn't just some fling. This isn't just a mistake. They've been lying to me for months, maybe even longer, and I never saw it coming. I sit there, frozen, watching as Claire and Lisa disappear into the house, the door closing behind them. My mind is spinning, my thoughts racing, but there's only one thing I can focus on. They're together, and I'm out here, alone. I don't know how long I sit there, staring at the darkened windows of Lisa's house. But eventually, the numbness fades, replaced by a burning anger that courses through my veins. I want to storm up to the door, pound on it until they let me in, demand answers, scream at them for betraying me. But I don't. I force myself to stay in the car, to breathe, to think. If I go in there now, I'll lose it. I'll say things I can't take back. And right now, I need answers more than I need to blow up at them. I turn the key in the ignition, my hands still shaking, and drive home. By the time I pull into the driveway, the anger has subsided, replaced by a deep, hollow ache in my chest. I feel like I'm sleepwalking as I head inside, the house dark and empty around me. I sit down on the couch, staring at the clock, waiting for Claire to come home. I don't know what I'm going to say to her. I don't even know where to start. But I know one thing for sure. There's no going back after this. I wait. It's almost midnight by the time I hear the front door creak open. Claire steps inside, her heels clicking softly on the floor, her movements quiet, like she's trying not to wake me. I sit up, my heart pounding, the words trapped in my throat. "Hey," she says when she sees me, her voice soft. "You're still up?" I nod, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Yeah. I was waiting for you." She frowns, walking over to the couch, and for a second, I see the old Claire, the one who used to sit with me, laugh with me, love me. But that version of her feels like a ghost now, replaced by someone I don't recognize. I stare at her, trying to figure out how to say it, how to bring it up without exploding. But the words tumble out before I can stop them. Were you with Lisa? Claire freezes, her smile faltering. She blinks, her eyes widening for a fraction of a second before she recovers. But I've seen enough. I know the truth. She opens her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. I saw you. I say, my voice shaking. I followed you, Claire. I saw you with her. The silence that follows is suffocating. Claire's face crumples, her shoulders slumping as the weight of the lie crashes down around us. I'm sorry, she whispers, her voice barely audible. But sorry isn't enough. Not anymore. The silence that stretches between us is unbearable. Claire stands there, staring at me, her face pale, her lips slightly parted like she's trying to figure out what to say. But what could she possibly say? I saw her. I followed her. There's no hiding it anymore. I sit on the edge of the couch, my hands clenched into fists, my heart pounding in my chest. I want to scream at her. I want to ask her how she could do this, how she could lie to my face for months, maybe longer, but the words won't come out. My throat is tight, my mind spinning with everything that's happened. Finally, Claire breaks the silence, her voice soft, barely more than a whisper. I'm sorry, Erin, she says, her eyes filling with tears. I didn't want you to find out like this. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I didn't want you to find out like this. Not I didn't want you to find out. Not I didn't want it to happen. She's not sorry that she's been lying to me. She's sorry that I caught her. How long? Ask, my voice rough, barely recognizable to my own ears. How long have you been lying to me? Claire looks down at the floor, her hands trembling as she wipes at her eyes. It's not what you think, she says quietly. Don't. I snap, standing up suddenly, the anger bubbling up inside me like a fire I can't control. Don't lie to me again, Claire. I followed you. I saw you with her. Her shoulders slump, and for a moment, I think she might deny it again. It's been a few months, she says, her voice shaky. Maybe longer. I don't know. I didn't plan for it to happen. Erin, I swear, I feel like the ground is shifting under my feet. Like everything I thought I knew has been pulled out from under me. A few months. All this time. While I've been trying to make sense of the distance between us. While I've been questioning myself. Wondering if I was imagining things. She's been with Lisa. Why? Ask. My voice barely above a whisper. Why her? Why didn't you just tell me? Claire closes her eyes, taking a deep breath before she speaks again. I didn't know how to tell you, she says, her voice cracking. It's not something I planned. It just happened. It just happened. The same words she used before. I want to scream. I want to throw something. But I don't. I just stand there, staring at her, waiting for an explanation that will never be enough. How long have you been in love with her? Ask. The words cutting through the air like a knife. Claire flinches at the question, her eyes filling with fresh tears. She doesn't answer right away, and that silence tells me everything I need to know. It's not just sex. It's not just a fling. This is something more, something deeper. I don't know, she whispers finally, her voice barely audible. It's complicated. Complicated. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. It's bitter. Hollow. The kind of laugh you let out when everything inside you is breaking apart. There's nothing complicated about it. Claire, you've been sleeping with her behind my back for months. That's not complicated. That's betrayal. I wasn't trying to hurt you, Claire says, her voice cracking as she wipes at her eyes again. I didn't want it to happen this way. I didn't even know. I didn't know this was going to happen between us. I shake my head, running a hand through my hair, trying to make sense of what she's saying. You didn't know you were attracted to women. Is that what you're telling me? I don't know, she whispers, her voice shaky. It's never happened before. Lisa and we just connected in a way I didn't expect. It wasn't planned. It wasn't supposed to go this far. But it did. And now here we are, standing in the ruins of what was supposed to be our life together. I trusted you, I say, my voice breaking. I trusted both of you. Lisa was supposed to be your friend. She was supposed to be someone we both trusted. Claire sobs, covering her face with her hands. I know, she says, her voice muffled. I know I hurt you, Aaron. I never wanted to. I didn't know how to stop it. The words hang in the air between us, heavy and suffocating. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to process this. The woman I've spent the last 8 years with, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone, has been lying to me, and not just lying. She's been with someone else. Someone we both know. Someone she loves. Do you love her? Ask. My voice barely above a whisper. I don't even know if I want to hear the answer, but I have to ask. I have to know. Claire hesitates for a moment, her eyes filled with guilt and pain, and then she nods, just slightly, like she's afraid of the weight of the truth. I don't know, she says finally, her voice trembling. Maybe. It's different. It's not the same as what we have. Her words feel like a knife twisting in my chest. Different. 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 What does that even mean? How is this different from what we have? Does that make it better? Worse? I thought we had something. I say, my voice shaking. I thought we had a life together. We do, she says quickly, stepping toward me, her eyes wide and pleading. Aaron, we do. What I have with you, it's real. I love you. I never stopped loving you. I take a step back, shaking my head. You don't do this to someone you love, Claire. You don't lie to them. You don't go behind their back with someone else. You don't hide this for months and pretend everything's fine. I didn't know how to tell you. She whispers, her voice cracking. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. The irony of her words isn't lost on me. She didn't want to lose me, but she's already lost me. This thing she has with Lisa has broken us. There's no coming back from this. I sit down on the edge of the couch, my head in my hands, trying to breathe, trying to make sense of everything. The anger, the betrayal, the confusion. It's all swirling around inside me. Too much to process. What happens now? Ask. My voice barely audible. Claire doesn't answer right away. She stands there, watching me, her eyes filled with regret, but also something else, something I can't quite place. I don't know, she whispers finally. I don't know what happens next. The silence stretches between us again, thick and heavy. I can't look at her anymore. I can't bear to see the guilt, the sadness, the love that's still there, even after everything. I need time, I say, my voice hollow. I need space. I can't deal with this right now. Claire nods, tears streaming down her face. I understand, she whispers, and with that, she turns and walks up the stairs, leaving me alone in the dark, the weight of her betrayal crushing down on me. The house feels empty now. Claire is still here, somewhere upstairs, but the space between us feels like a chasm I can't cross. It's been hours since she went to bed, but I haven't moved from the couch. I don't know if I can. The clock on the wall ticks softly, each second stretching out longer than the last. My head is spinning, my thoughts tangled up in everything that's happened. Everything she said. She loves me. She loves Lisa. She didn't know how to stop it. I keep replaying her words in my mind, trying to make sense of them, trying to understand how we got here. But no matter how hard I try, I can't wrap my head around it. Claire, the woman I've spent 8 years of my life with, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone, has been lying to me for months. And it wasn't just some stranger. It was Lisa. That part still hits me the hardest. Lisa, the woman who's been to our house, who sat at our table, laughed with us, acted like everything was fine. All the while, she was sleeping with Claire. I trusted her. I trusted both of them, and they both betrayed me. I run a hand through my hair, leaning forward, my elbows resting on my knees. My chest feels tight, like there's a weight sitting on it that I can't shake. How did I miss it? How did I not see the signs? I think back to all the times Claire came home late, the way she brushed off my questions, the distance that grew between us over the last few months. I knew something was wrong. I could feel it, but I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that the woman I loved could do this to me. The room feels colder now, the silence suffocating. I stand up, pacing the length of the living room, trying to clear my head. But the thoughts keep circling back, like I'm trapped in some kind of nightmare I can't wake up from. How long has this been going on? How long have they been lying to me? And why didn't I do something sooner? Why didn't I confront her the first time I noticed something was off? But I know the answer to that. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to admit that our marriage was falling apart. So I ignored the signs. I told myself it was just a rough patch, that we'd get through it like we always had. But we won't get through this. Not this time. I glance at the stairs, wondering if Claire is asleep, wondering if she's thinking about me, about us, about what she's done. I don't even know if I want to ask her anything else. I'm not sure there's anything left to say. She said she loves me. She said she didn't want to lose me. But that doesn't change what she did. It doesn't change the fact that she's been in love with someone else while pretending everything was fine between us. And now, I don't know if I can stay. I walk into the kitchen, the cold tile floor chilling my bare feet. I open the fridge, grab a bottle of water, and lean against the counter, staring out the window at the dark street outside. The world out there keeps moving, keeps spinning, like nothing's changed, but everything has changed for me. I think about what comes next. Divorce? Separation? Moving out? The idea of leaving this house, this life we built together, feels impossible. But staying here, pretending like we can fix this, feels even worse. My phone buzzes on the counter, pulling me out of my thoughts. I glance at the screen and see a message from my sister, Lena. She doesn't know what's happened yet. No one does. And I'm not ready to tell them. I'm not ready to explain how everything I thought I had is gone. But I know I can't keep this to myself forever. I pick up the phone, staring at the message. It's just a casual check-in. Nothing urgent. But the weight of everything I'm holding inside feels like too much. I almost text her back. I almost tell her everything. But then I stop. I'm not ready. Not yet. I put the phone down and take a deep breath, leaning against the counter. I can't stay here tonight. I can't sleep in the same bed with her. Not after everything that's happened. I walk to the front door, grabbing my jacket from the hook by the entryway. I need air. I need to get out of this house. I need to think. The night air is cool as I step outside, the streetlights casting long shadows across the pavement. I start walking, my hands shoved deep into my pockets, my breath coming out in short, shaky bursts. My mind is racing, but my feet keep moving, like they know where I'm going. Even if I don't know how long I walk, but eventually, I find myself at a park a few blocks from the house. It's quiet here, the kind of place where we used to come on weekends, where we used to sit and talk, laugh, and play, plan for the future. But now it feels like a ghost of what we had. I sit down on a bench, staring up at the night sky, the stars barely visible through the city lights. The ache in my chest feels heavier now, more real. It's not just the affair. It's everything. The years we spent together, the plans we made, the life we built. And now all of it feels like it's crumbling around me. I don't know what happens next. I don't know how I'm supposed to rebuild after something like this. But I know one thing for sure. I can't stay trapped in this lie anymore. The thought hits me like a punch to the gut. But it's true. I can't stay in this marriage. Not after what Claire did. Not after everything she hid from me. I sit there, staring at the darkened park, trying to wrap my head around the idea of leaving, of walking away from the life we built. But it's not really my life anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. I stand up, the decision settling over me like a weight being lifted off my chest. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how I'll get through this. But I know I have to start somewhere. I start walking again, the night air cool against my skin. And for the first time in what feels like hours, I take a deep breath. Maybe I'll be okay. Maybe I'll find a way to move on. But not tonight.